Hi, I'm Tim.
I'm George.
We're here at Emerald Coast Indoor Shooting and Sport. Today, we'd like to talk to you about optics. George, what exactly are optics?
Well, optics can be anything from red dots, lasers, scopes, thermal and night vision, really all of those categories.
Why do I want one?
Makes it easier to see, Tim. Makes it easier to shoot, more accurate. That's really the baseline of it.
Well, and it's funny because I have incorporated some optics on my handguns, and it's really improved my abilities as I've aged and my eyes have started to deteriorate like most people do. So let's talk primarily today about red dots, George. I see them on pistols, coming on pistols. They've been there for a couple years, but they're really getting popular. And I see them on rifles.
Yes.
Tell me about the difference between a pistol dot and a rifle dot.
Yeah, so the main difference between a pistol dot and a rifle dot is that pistol dots are going to be much smaller. As you can see, we have a few of them lined up. This is going to be your typical rifle red dot, and these are going to be your typical pistol red dots. So a lot of these are going to be a lot smaller in comparison, as well as they're usually different shaped. As you can see, these sort of have a weird like L shaped right here. That's sort of like a tubular type red dot.
So years ago, almost all of the people joining the United States Army had a dot on their rifle.
Yes.
About when do you think that happened, roughly?
I would say it really started coming about during like the late '80s, early '90s. Starting out with the aim point, that was like the main contender that sort of set the standard.
So if the United States Army and the rest of the Department of Defense have gone to them, there must be something to it because it's a lot more expensive to develop a dot than it was just an old set of iron sights.
Yes. Yeah.
So I understand that it's improved their training and it's improved their accuracy.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
What about reliability?
Reliability makes it much more reliable.
Okay. So let's concentrate today on the red dot.
Okay.
And as we talked about before, what are the main differences between a pistol dot and a rifle dot?
So aside from the shape, as we just talked about, there are certain other factors that come with a pistol versus a rifle red dot. The main thing is going to be obviously the size of it, which affects what you can see and how clear the actual the glass is, and how fast you can acquire what is out there.
I hear some talk about dot sizes, that can be, some people come in and they're looking for a specific size of a dot. Tell me about dot sizes.
Yeah, so dots are measured in terms of MOA, minutes of angle. And basically, what that entails is that if you were to put a target out at 100 yards, it's going to be 1 inch at 100 yards. So if you have a 2 MOA dot, that's going to cover 2 inches of your target at 100 yards.
Okay, so a bigger dot I see
Yes.
faster, I see easier, but
Yeah, so the main drawback of a bigger dot is that it's going to be obtrusive to your actual target. So imagine that that target is going to be at 100 yards. A 6 MOA dot, which is going to cover much of your actual glass, is going to overlay on top of that target, which you may not be able to see. When a smaller dot is going to be less obtrusive, so you're going to be able to see that target, be able to finely tune it a little bit better in terms of adjustment, makes you a little bit more accurate.
so accuracy is better with a small one, but target acquisition is better with a big one.
Yes.
So, like everything else, it's a trade off.
Yes. Yeah.
Huh? Okay, what about the size of the window? I see here we've got, these three sitting here and each have a different window size. What's the advantage of a bigger or smaller window size?
So the biggest advantage of a larger window is, as we were talking about, target acquisition. It's much easier to see the dot on a larger window just because of it does have to project onto the glass itself, so you're able to notice it a little bit easier. As you can see here, this is a very small window versus a much larger window. This one on the right is going to be more tuned for your concealed carry guns. It's much smaller window, sort of low profile idea. These ones are going to be larger, so it's more for duty carry, larger pistols. It makes it a little bit easier to see the red dot, makes it easier to acquire it, and then it's just going to be a little bit better rated for duty.
So these, like everything else, are battery operated. What's the chances of battery failure?
Battery failure, I would say it's very slim. Don't really have to worry too much about battery failure nowadays. If you get a good red dot, or not even a good red dot, a decent red dot. Batteries and optics have come a very long way. No longer do you have to worry about it failing, in the middle of the day, assuming that you take care of it, like all your other equipment.
So their battery life is in the thousands of hours,
Oh, I would say 10,000.
tens of thousands of
Yes,
hours.
yeah.
Okay.
Certain companies will advertise that they have 20,000 hour lifespans. When some of them, if you get more expensive, it's going to be 100,000 hour lifespans. So it all depends really on how much you want to spend, who you're getting it from. But really, you don't really have to change the battery life. I'd probably say like once a year, something like that.
Well, that's a good idea. If I change it every year and it had 20,000 hours, I'll never have to worry about a failure, would I?
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe that'd be a Christmas or birthday present to myself.
Yes.
Batteries.
and and then they do have nowadays solar charging um, red dots. So something like this from HoloSun has an actual solar capacitor or even a solar charger on the top. It's a nice little panel that will help you. It can either take in at ambient light to power the red dot, or it can actually hold a charge. That way you don't have to. You can turn off the battery, but still have a red dot.
So you use the word red dot,
Yes.
but I see some of them advertised in different colors.
Yeah.
Advantages and disadvantages of different colors.
Yeah, so it mostly helps for clarity as well as visibility. The big thing about it is that if you're like me or maybe yourself, you have slight astigmatism, it's much easier to see a green dot than it or an amber dot than it is a red dot. But in terms of quicker acquisition, you'll also see that green dots are usually the fastest to acquire, especially if you're outside, just because it has a good contrast on the environment, especially when it's bright outside. I found.
So there's, I see, so the picture I see in the dot itself changes or can be changed. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so nowadays you'll see a lot of companies advertise multi-reticle function. So that being what you actually see, because there is the simple dot, which everyone knows, but then you'll also see that some companies do make like a triangle or a dot circle or something like that. It helps. It's all dependent on what you want. A lot of times with the dot circle, the company that spearheaded that type of reticle, it's going to be EOTech. A lot of people know them. It was mostly for the dot itself was for initial accuracy, and then the circle was used to help gauge. So if a target is closer or farther, I can use that outer ring to help walk in my shots, essentially.
Huh. Okay. So how much of that outer ring they fill up would give me an idea of the distance,
Oh,
huh?
absolutely.
Once I've practiced with it. Makes sense. What, so I see some of them have two pieces of glass and some of them have one piece of glass. What's the difference there?
Yeah, so the difference is going to be an open emitter versus a closed emitter. The emitter itself is what is used to project the reticle, the red dot, onto the glass. If you have an open emitter, then there is a chance that it can get obstructed, through water, rain, sand sometimes. If you're outside, a closed emitter means that there is a second pane of glass that will cover the emitter and protect you from an outside environment.
Okay. So there's some options there in what we do. What about nighttime?
Nighttime, yes. So nighttime. So funnily enough, you'll see a lot of red dots. They do have a night vision option. What that means is that it does not turn it into a night vision optic. So I will not be able to see like black and white, sort of like white hot, black hot, or greens and white phosphorus type. What it means is it is compatible with night vision optics. So if I were to have a night vision monocular, I'm still able to see my red dot without it being obstructed. It won't be super bright and sort of just annoying to look at.
Okay, so the dot technology now has been around for decades. I mean, we've seen the Army went to it and all their rifles. And now pistols are starting to come. You can buy the pistol with a dot already on it, or you can buy the pistols that are ready. And I've seen in the last year or two, almost every gun that's introduced as a new model has the capability of mounting a dot. So something to consider as an accessory when you purchase a new gun,
Oh, absolutely.
or a way to upgrade your old gun, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
Even as we age, maybe it's time to use the technology to its advantage. So if you want more information on the red dot, come and see us or drop us a line, research it yourself. We have a selection usually, and pretty much any one we can get for you. The other portions of this series we'll start talking about watch in a few weeks, and you'll see George explain some scopes to us. And thank you for watching, and have a great day.